thought Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, you know there's just 298 days until Christmas 2023. And today's show's a little bit of a different format. Today, we're going to do as a members call-in. If you guys would like to talk about Star Wars, what's on your mind? Are you loving it? Is there you have questions? There's things that you're excited about, things you're curious about. You can join the show today. We're going to start off with our Patreon members, and so if you're one of our patrons, the link to join the show is already over in Patreon, as well as our YouTube subscribers. So members. So those who are members on YouTube, we'll bring you guys in first. So you'll find that link in the YouTube members chat area there in YouTube, or members messages. And then in Discord, we've also posted the link in the members only section there as well. So you can find the link in Patreon, in YouTube, or in Discord under the members only section. And then if you guys would like to, after that, once we've kind of gone through folks and there's nobody else waiting, I'll post the link into Discord just for our Discord community. And if you guys would like to join, then that could happen as well. Oh no. I see Baymax is already up to no good. But let's bring in a couple of folks, our regulars. We've got Jason Ward and Star Wars Meg. Thank you guys for joining today to talk Star Wars. Just this is a fan kind of format, and if we have folks in the community that like to ask you guys some questions or just talk about Star Wars, I appreciate you guys being here.
But no spoilers. No spoilers. May doesn't want spoilers, so no spoilers.
That's right. This is not a spoiler stream. We're not going to talk about the rumors, spoils, speculation. This isn't news of the day. We'll do some of that tomorrow. And Jason, I know you've got a show later today where you're going to knock over all the mugs on your table and spill tea everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know what that means. I'm just going to put a bunch of spoilers, though. Yeah. Me and Bespin Bulletin and I got together and we made a spoiler baby, and we're naming it Chapter 18.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So
actually, is Chapter 17? Well, Chapter 17 was the apostate. Is Chapter 18 the prostate?
Yeah. I had a joke on Meg's Discord that did not go over at all. But I was like, my joke was, what's it called when Grogu gives Mando a massage? Apostate massage. Come on. All right.
Do you know why it didn't land? There's no relevance to Grogu.
Well, just anybody gives him. Who am I supposed to say? Who's going to give him a massage?
You could say Bo-Katan, and it instantly becomes funnier.
Oh well, you're the comedian. Help me out here. Not on the air. Back when we were boarding this in text.
That is true. I should have given you a pointer.
Oh hey.
But I don't want to get up all up in your business about it.
You expect a membership stream?
I expect you to turn the other cheek.
Well, this is a great opportunity for our community to get a join and to talk about Star Wars. And Baymax is starting off by being a little bit naughty.
What?
Says, well, he's celebrating 19 months of membership. First of all, thank you so much for that, Baymax. And many of you know Baymax helped start our entire community here. He got the Discord. He went out and created it. He set it up. He did all the channels. He did all the work. And he is constantly in communication with me with show ideas and topics. He works with Jason and Meg as well. Baymax is behind the scenes really helping us day to day.
Nice boy.
Yeah. He's generally. Sometimes he gets up to no good, and like this is one of them. Right? His milestone super chat. He says, "Can you comment on this statement? Cameron Pasha is a lying snake oil salesman." Go.
Why would you say that? Everything he's ever said comes true and is 100% factual and backed up just with time. As time passes, it always comes true. So I don't know why you'd say that.
You know how you do that? You say, this thing is going to absolutely happen. I guarantee it. And if it doesn't, it's because somebody heard about it and changed it. Now, that thing is going to happen or it's not going to happen, and you're going to be right either way.
Yeah, that kind of like every now and then, like if Bespin came to me and said, if Bespin said that today, I'd be like, yeah, Bespin's got so much right factually that if he said that, I would give him that. I'd give him one, give him two. You know what I mean? A few like that.
Yeah.
If he said that. But if every single scoop Bespin, for instance, ever did was that, you're being misled. It's trickery.
Yeah, and he tends to set up what they call is like what scarecrows, right? Like that's not it. In my brain it replaced the word with scarecrow, and I don't know what that is.
This is like some Batman level stuff right now.
Yeah, my brain just replaced the word. But no, he sets up these straw man.
Straw man.
That's where Scarecrow just like because
you're becoming more cryptic than Jennifer Corbett.
That's how you make a scarecrow. Is you take straw and you stuff it into like an old, some of your old clothes, and then you stick it up. So that's we did that. But I say that's what he does. He builds these straw men that are completely unverifiable. But
I don't think that audience really gives a care about reality. I think it's like let's just go with this fantasy. So
yeah. There's a good bit of that. There is. But then what he says ends up making a lot of waves in the pond. Right? So we end up with a ton of news and misinformation getting circulated throughout the Star Wars fandom because he says this thing that there's some civil war going on at Lucasfilm that
Star Wars fans will believe anything but the truth. That's my experience.
You're absolutely right, Jason.
My experience with the community at large. So
yeah, well,
people don't care about the truth; they just want their opinions repeated back at them.
Yeah,
let's give another thing that's been kind of tough to ferret out here lately. We do have one of our guests in the back room we'll bring on shortly, but as we're giving folks a chance to get lined up, and there's something else that I have to address too that Meg set up for me. But there's something going around because Jon Favreau has been doing interviews and off the cuff saying things, and the punctuation matters. Like where does the comma go in what he's saying? What is it? What? There's a phrase where if you put the comma in the wrong place, tragic things happen, right? So
yeah,
he's saying things and it's unclear. Between Mandalorian season 1, when we first meet everybody, and Mandalorian season 3, some time has passed. The question is, when did the time pass and how? And right now, that's as clear as mud. Like we can't parse his sentences to figure out. Is he saying that there's a year between Mando 2 and Boba Fett? There's 2 years between Mando 2 and Boba Fett.
I think he says
there's
he's
a year
basically,
between
if you read
Mando-
everything he said in totality, he's saying it's just real time.
Yeah.
That's like literally what he's saying is it's real time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Grogu
here's the
leaves.
problem.
Yeah.
If it's 2 years, then Luke gives Grogu the training remote 3 weeks or 3 days before he's going back with Din. That makes no sense. And all Grogu
Din,
learned was to jump.
Din is taking public transportation for 2 years.
Well, there's all
bussing
kinds
it.
of yeah. It's weird to try to break it down, but then people take the 2-year thing and they post it on Twitter, and then everybody runs like that's a story. Like Grogu was with Luke for 2 years. Jon Favreau said it. Did anybody go back and listen to what he said and try to figure out what in the world? Yeah, some people did. And then when they did that, they were like still just as confused. And to be honest, right now, I can't. I have no idea what he meant.
Well, we have to go back. We have to go back to the very first thing he said, which is this season 3 starts a long time after. And when he said somebody's like a long time, and he's like it's like it's some time. Some time has passed. That's the important part to acknowledge right there, because it hasn't been 4 years. You know what I mean? He's not saying it's been 4 years, and when you break it all down, he basically Grogu is with Luke for something probably around 10 months. And then but none of this matters because you don't know how long the original you know the years of the original trilogy, but you don't know the days, the months, or the weeks, and how long it was Luke Skywalker with Yoda. None of that makes any sense because it's a fantasy and it's irrelevant to
for
everything.
Star Wars fans. It absolutely is critical to understanding how many hours, minutes, and seconds. Was Grogu with.
They think it is, but it's.
I know.
They think, but what it is it's damage control from accepting the fact that it was kind of a lame move to have Grogu and Din get back together the very next episode that they're in something. And this is a way of trying to make it seem like it's not such a bad idea to fans who complain. I think all of the confusion comes from that. And then, but I also don't think that they actually have mapped out what this timeline is at this point. I don't think they actually know. And that's why he's tripping on his words, right?
Yeah, I think we can deduce a few things, right? Just in general. Like at the end of Mandalorian season 2, we see Fennec go in and take Jabba's palace, right? It seems to be that happened in the post-credit scene. That happened shortly after the end of the season. Like that wasn't years later. That seemed like it happened like pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like not like that day, but certainly within a short amount of time.
You want to know the saddest part of that scene, Santa?
What's that?
Bib Fortuna just got accepted by TLC for My 600 Pound Life. He was meant to show up the next day. Such a big opportunity for him.
He had this great opportunity, and Fennec took it away from him. It was sad. Everybody mourned the loss of Bib Fat Tuna.
I have a theory, and it might just be completely bunk, but I've been kind of on this kick that Ahsoka starts parallel at some point to Mandalorian season 2, and then moves into the same time, if not beyond it.
Yeah.
And that might be a big source of the confusion here. That might be something where he's tripping on his words because it's complicated to like get into it without giving something away. It's kind of just a hunch, but I could be wrong, you know?
So let me just lay out my general thought, right? Like end of season 2 to the post-credit scene in season 2 of Mando. A relatively short amount of time, like not next day, maybe not even next week, but within a short amount of time. Then between that post-credit scene of Mando season 2 and Book of Boba Fett, another short amount of time, like less than a year. That is just my perception. I could be wrong because Jon Favreau's got me confused, but I'm just going to say I think it's less than a year. And then the duration of the Book of Boba Fett, I have honestly no clue how long that is, because some time passes for sure, right? He keeps doing the flashback to scenes. There's a good amount of time that passes throughout that. But in the middle, we see Din go back and get Grogu, or Grogu comes back to Din. To me, that's probably between the time that he left Din to the time he returns to Din, probably less than a year. I could be wrong. I don't know. But then after that, it seems like from the end of the book of Mando season 2 to the beginning of Mando season 3, a longer period of time has gone through, because we see a couple things. One is in Book of Boba Fett, when Din goes and sees the armor and Paz Vizsla, there's only the two of them. That's the covert, the two. In Mando season 3, episode 1, we've got a whole bunch of foundlings. We've got
some drummers.
We've got drummers. I mean, they had to go to practice and learn how to drum.
I had the scoop on the dumb drummers. I just totally forgot about it. I was like, it was part of the stuff I had put out, and when I saw it, I was like, you know what? I forgot to talk about those dumb drummers. I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So,
but I was like,
I think for them to recruit these other Mandalorians, get them, indoctrinated and baptize, all that, and all the foundlings, longer period of time. So,
and there's still more, and there's still more coming, we think. So
yeah, I would just say from the end of Mando, where we see actually in Book of Boba Fett, where we see Din and and the armor and Paz Vizsla, to the beginning of season 3, is going to be the bulk of those 2 years. The time before that is the lesser of those 2 years. But again, who knows? Who knows? Let's what do you think?
Personally, I don't care. I'm like I don't. You could tell me, like, if your narrative is working, I don't need to sit there and go, oh, but it was 18 months, so it's okay now. Because it's like, no, you know what? I didn't see those 18 months, so it's not okay. So nothing's gonna fix that unless you're just fan mathing everything out. Which will work for them to some degree in the discourse on Twitter with the cult, with the Star Wars cult that goes with everything. Yeah. But nothing's going to make a bad choice a good choice.
And
just saying that.
Let me
in my mind.
be clear about this. I don't think Grogu was with Luke for 2 years.
No,
Take that off the table.
No. It's definitely real time. It's real time.
What do you think as far as how all that lines out?
I think they messed up. I think it was meant to be 2 years because Navarro is drastically different.
Yeah.
So it might have been 2 years. It might have been 2 years.
And
no. See, Meg is right, but it's not that Luke is with Grogu for 2 years. They've been together for a long time. Like after the Book of Boba Fett, we have like a long time that goes by.
Yeah.
It's not like the next day after Book of Boba Fett. That's where all the confusion's coming from.
Yeah.
Grogu is with Mando for like 10 months. They get back together. Then they're out there in space for like a year and a half or 2 years, year and a half probably, or whatever. And so when you get down to it, you're like 2.5 years worth of time in totality, but not that he's with Luke.
Right. And
Luke should be mad if so, because that's a big investment in that little punk for him to just bolt.
Here's the other thing. You think they'll get any of this cleared up at Celebration, or are we still going to just be completely clueless?
Clueless.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. Hey, we've got a visitor. We've got our first guest, Jedi Mike. We're going to bring him in just 1 second. First of all, how can you get on the show? It's if you're one of our patrons. The link is in Patreon. Easy to find. If you are in one of our YouTube members, if you go look in the community tab, the link is there as well. And then if you are in either of those, and you're in Discord, there's a members only section. And that's if you've got your YouTube and Patreon accounts linked to your Patreon or to your Discord, you'll see that there as well. So you can find the link. If you're in any of those places, you could join just like Jedi Mike has. And we have another benefit here as if you're one of our patrons, and it's where you can submit this unlimited super chat. So you can save a lot of money this way. But let me let me show. We have a super chat, a Patreon
Oh, I
super
wonder who it's
chat.
from.
I wonder. Star Wars Meg. Look at that. Star Wars Meg right there. She used the feature. It said Bo-Katan looked really sad in that episode of Mandalorian. Her chums left her abandoned when she didn't return with the Darksaber. Now Din has it. I guess my question is, what flavor of cookie would she prefer? I'm thinking of baking her something to cheer her up. She could use a pick-me-up. Cookies might help too. I have all the ingredients for chocolate chip, but a splash of brandy in the batter would really make her shout, "Sweet Kalevala!" Thoughts? I would tell you this. I ask kids at Christmas, what's your favorite kind of cookie? And the vast majority are chocolate chip. So Meg, I think you've got a grand idea there. Some chocolate chip cookies with a splash of brandy. Go for it. Do it. That'd
Thank
be
you,
great.
Santa.
I'm sure
I have
she
all
would
the answers I
appreciate it.
need now.
Yeah, and she'll be in much better mood. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining.
Hey.
What's on your mind today?
How's my sound, first of all?
Sounds great.
Sounds like chocolate.
Chocolate.
I don't
chocolate
have
chip
any
cookie.
chocolate around, but what's on my mind, I'm just so happy to be here. Like the history of you guys and the history of me and Star Wars coming together feels good in my soul.
That's great. That's great.
And I'm
Mumbo
excited
Jim-
about all the Lucasfilm wins this week for me. It feels like a Lucasfilm win on Mando and Bad Batch, and that's what we're celebrating, minus a lot of the spoilers, even though I hear people calling for it.
Yeah, I saw that too. And Mumbo Jimbo gives you another option, Meg. Just brandy minus the cookies. You know, save yourself some baking time. Just go for the
A
brandy.
cookieless cookie.
Mike,
Yes.
Mando season 3, episode 1, and Bad Batch, season 2, episode 11. You've watched both?
Oh, I've watched both multiple times.
Yeah.
We will watch
And-
it. We'll watch Mando as a family on Friday, right? The kids were like, "Can't we watch Mando?" And I was like, "No, get off your device." We watch on Friday as a family.
They've already watched it, you know. They watched it on their phones, and they're like,
Yeah, no, my kids probably have their things. I don't have to be in that business anymore. So yeah, I just focused on enjoying the watch parties and enjoying the enthusiasm, and it's been awesome.
That's great.
And I watched both, twice.
So you recommend both? You recommend one over the other? Which does one have you more excited than the other? Or where are you?
Well, I mean, if you're not a Bad Batch fan and you don't understand that arc and what's going on, and you know you're what do they call it? Sequel squeamish, right? You don't want to know what's going on with the cloning and the Bad Batch and that part of Mando, but you know, I'm into it, so I just kind of see it all continuously. But I obviously recommend the Mando episode. It was as good at my baby's here.
"Hey, little baby."
I think the baby is the real Jedi Mike.
Yeah, he's really in control of me right now. But no, I'm saying Mando episode was so good, just as good as the Crate Dragon. Like it brought everything. Hey, take me off and bring me back.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, I
Jedi
wanted to hear
Mike
what the
makes
kid had
some
to
great
say.
points at the end.
Yeah, Jason, you feel his pain. I've seen many of your streams where your kids just take over the stream. They're like,
Well, they just
"It's
come
my
out- they
stream
just-
now, punk."
It's like a news show. They're like,
It's
like,
great. Penny comes in. It's like, "I want to see. What are you doing?"
yeah.
Hey, we do have Star Wars Fitz here. Hello, Fitz, over in
Oh.
Ireland. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Hey, Kieran.
Can you all hear me? Can you?
A little bit. Let me see. I can turn up your volume a little bit. There you go.
Oh, this is me. One second.
I can hear you. What's on your mind today?
I was excited about the new Mando series. Really, just the way it's going at the moment. And as you were saying, you know, about the time difference of 2 years or so. I mean, when you see, as you said in the Book of Boba Fett, we only see the armor Paz Vizsla, and that was it. Whereas now, in Mando season 3, we see the foundings and the whole others, a lot of others as well. So
Yeah.
I agree with him. It'd be a period of time has gone by anyway, and we
Hey,
also
do you-
see it.
Do you think those are all new Mandos, or do you think those are found Mandos that were just scattered?
Oh,
Yeah.
I say they probably. I say they were found Mandos. I would say because
Yeah.
I mean with the, as I say, with the purge, everything else, a lot of them would be all of the galaxy really, and say they're trying to find them and then just bring them back in
Yeah.
eventually at some stage.
Yeah.
Could be wrong,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. No, any theory is a good theory as far as it goes, because they haven't told us.
no.
So it's,
Yeah.
and where did
that's
they
exactly-
find them? That's the thing as well, though.
Well, and how many of the Mandos scattered about the universe subscribe to the Children of the Watch doctrine of never take your helmet off? How many of them are more of the Night Owl doctrine or some other group that doesn't adhere to the specific rule of you must wear your helmet at all times? And the other question that begs to be answered is how are they making children if they never take those helmets off? No, just say it.
it's like you ever see Smokey and the Bandit? He only takes his hat off for one thing.
Yeah.
So
No, it's just joking. Just joking.
yeah, I would do okay. I'd be like, for like 2 hours, I'd be like, yeah, I'm in. And then like my Taco Bell would come, I'd be like, and I'd start eating the Taco Bell. They'd be like, you're out. And I'd be like, serious? And that'd be it.
Yeah, that's like Mike Porter's dad joke yesterday. Like, how many Mandalorians does it take to change a light bulb? Well, none, because they have to take the helmet off to see the socket, and then they're not Mandalorian anymore. So it's impossible. It's impossible
the
for
truth
a
is,
Mandalorian
Santa,
to change a light bulb.
There's only
that?
one helmet they really need to be not wearing if they're trying to. I bet the armor is the mother of all of them. She's freaky.
Oh no! And you know what makes that worse is you're friends with Emily, or friendly with
I
Emily.
saw her on Star Wars Theories video today, but apparently that interview was from a year ago.
Excellent.
She's a very cool person. She's very nice.
Kiara, now the Bad Batch. I know that you've been watching it as well, and enjoying it quite a bit. What'd you think of episode 11?
I thought it was good. I'm a bit worried for Omega now with what's the name, Lama Sue mentioned about her to Dr. Hemlock, and so I'm wondering now where this is going to be heading. Or is this what we see in Rogue One? The Mark Omega when that was mentioned on Rogue One.
Yeah, so that's Meg's theory as well, right?
Yeah.
That Mark Omega is going to tie back to Omega as we know her. So, yeah, very good. Well, anything else, Fitz?
I was thinking then about Mando as well. When we saw the Purgles there, is definitely, I think, a tie-in for the Ahsoka show, and also, I think as for people who don't see the animated series, they're going to need to know then who these Purgles are and what they represent. Because, like, I would watch all Star Wars, whether it's animation or live action, but I have friends who only watch the live action, but not the animated shows. And when I told a friend of mine then who only watches live action to watch the very last 4 episodes of season 7 of the Clone Wars because it links with the Revenge of the Sith. So he and his wife did watch it, and when they saw that, then and the show saw then Mando season 2, Ahsoka coming in, and then Bo-Katan coming in, then they know who she was. Otherwise, they wouldn't know who she was.
Did they enjoy it?
They did, yeah. They did, yeah. Yeah.
Fun part about that is we were watching it last night. Kathy and I were watching it, and with her one eye, right? She has a patch on. But anyway,
Pirate Kathy.
Yeah, Pirate Kathy. They gave her official pirate patch today. Even when we went to the follow-up appointment this morning, and they give her packet of stuff to take home and say, "Here's your pirate patch. Make sure you wear it when you don't have your glasses on." So, but we watched it last night, and I told her to pay attention when they were in a hyperspace lane, right? And she says, "Oh, what is that? There's something in a wait. What is that?" And she says, "I said, well, they're Purgle. What's that?" I said, "Well, they're like space whales." She said, "I thought it looked kind of like a whale, but I was afraid you'd laugh at me if I was wrong."
Is it Brendan Fraser? No.
Well, she
dear.
does have a bit of a distortion in her left eye. It's permanent damage from before, but so the distortion causes things to not retain their shape well. So it's hard for her to make out specific shapes, and so it's just kind of funny. So, all right. Well, Fitz, thank you so much for hanging out.
Good to see you, dude.
Good to see you.
And hey, I'll give
Fitz.
you a call the next day or so.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Take care.
See you then.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
All right. We'll bring in Mike for another moment, and then I see Obsession is in the background. Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Before we bring Obsession in, anything else? I know you got cut short there. Anything else you'd like to discuss before we?
Okay, well, besides the fact that I think we're really seeing a lot of the awesome canon, like lean in stuff, like we're getting a lot of that across Bad Batch and Mando. Like that's that Lucasfilm win that I was talking about. Besides that, the biggest win for me in Mando episode was the animatronics, like the Grogu animatronics, and then I got my little friend here. Like I can't remember what the creatures are called, but they were all
shit.
it was an amazing scene.
And Zealots.
I don't know what I did.
Oh shit! Sorry,
Meg,
sorry, Mike.
It's okay.
At least you didn't accidentally put your picture up like you did with
That's
Jason.
true.
Yeah.
Well, I thought this might be face reveal day because, like, again, I have a lot of history with you guys.
Oh, that's her right there.
Oh, yeah.
My wife did like
those little fingers are great when they down the fret. They're just like
Yeah, those are little bass fingers.
I'm clicking the wrong button.
watch what button you touch on live TV. Or
yeah.
whatever this is.
And Zealots. Right.
I thought that through all the turmoil of the pandemic, like it seems like Lucasfilm and the Canon Group and the ILM people, like we're just keeping going forward, and that works for me. So I'm happy with all these Mando and Bad Batch victories.
Very good.
No.
Very good. And look, there's a sequel trilogy tie-in too. If Anzellans were first given to us in Rise of Skywalker, and now we've got Anzellans in here as well. I thought they were hilarious. I loved them being in there. It was great.
I think everything. I mean, obviously, people get trolled or they troll themselves with whatever issue they want. But I didn't mind the Reese's Pieces candy thing. I like that the little guys look like ETs. Like, Jason and I vibe about that skeleton crew, like hopeful thinking and stuff. So, I will say, seeing the pirates was really cool. Like, I like the Cad Bane parallel to the Western vibe. I don't know if you saw in maybe one of your watch party chats, Santa, because I am in so many places, too many.
Yeah.
I really like the vibe of maybe we'll get a sideshow when stuff really gets rolling with like Boba and Fennec and Mando and Grief Karga and just people with their holsters and I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that going into Skeleton Crew possibly. That pirate vibe is cool. And I like the Purgle spiritual vibe going into Ahsoka. And I bet there's something in this Mando episode when we watch it back that will connect to Acolyte too. That's the last thing I'll say.
Thanks, Mike. That's fantastic. And you brought up a good question. You brought up two good things. One is the animatronics, like even in those pirates, and you mentioned the pirates, the facial movements of the pirates was great. I thought they did a really good job.
I thought so in the cockpits and everything, but again, maybe my
Yeah.
TV is not as good. I mean, look at how bad my camera is compared to other people. Like,
No,
I don't
it's
know
good.
anything.
You did
I
fine.
don't know.
You did fine. Thanks, Mike, and we'll catch you next time. All right, take care.
Bye, Mike.
Love you guys.
We did have a question earlier before we bring
I
in
know.
Obsession. It says there's a rumor that the celebration wasn't going to stream because they're going to announce Kathleen's departure. Any thoughts, Jason?
No, that's not a thing.
That's not true.
I don't see
But-
the logic there.
Yeah, they just would, if they didn't want to stream that, they just wouldn't stream that at the end of the day, because they've always not, there's always been panels that they don't stream and segments that they don't stream. So if they didn't want you to see it on the internet, which I don't know why they would care, but if they didn't want to, they just wouldn't stream that panel. And and like I said, the customer service now, I got 3 no's on it being. So if they end up streaming it, just goes to show that the customer service doesn't know. I had somebody come to me and say, "Oh, they said that last time." I wrote them and they said that last time, and I was like, "Can I have the email?" I would love to take your word, but can I have the email where they said that last time, so that way I just have it, because I'll add it to the story. Because if it's part of, I mean, then we know. Don't really listen to customer service from Repop when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, that becomes the actual story, the actual takeaway. But the source of that never followed through and came up with the email.
Yeah, I would think that there's a possibility they still will stream some of it.
I hope so.
I think most likely we're just going to get the YouTube summary, like end of day summaries, where we get the YouTube panelists on there. They bring some guests in and say, "Hey, this was great today. We had this or that and the other thing," and that'll be it. No stream of the actual forum, but there will be streams from Celebration. It'll just be their hosted YouTube show. That'll be my guess.
And one last thing, right now, Kathleen Kennedy would be paid out for producing about 4 films that are lined up right now, if the 4 films happen, which they probably are. At least 3 of them are likely to, and they're gonna have to pay her for that. That's the other thing. So just consider that whenever people say she's fired or whatever, it doesn't really make sense not to have her producing future films at this point. Because even if they fire her from the film, she would still get the credit and get the payment.
Well, and here's another thing, right? So we had the milestone super chat question earlier at the very beginning of this show, and that person come out with the story that the decision's been gone. She'll be gone by the end of 2023 in that ballpark. If she is still president CEO of Lucasfilm this time next year, could people please remember where you heard that come from and stop listening to it? That's right. Just try hard.
She came up with dirt on Bob Iger. She has the dirt. She has the deets. So she kept the job. That's just what they say. They just
exactly.
It's wrestling. Wrestling.
Trev says, "I can't get my camera." I saw Trev come in the back, and then he went. So, Trev, I appreciate you trying to come in. It'd be great to talk to you. If you can get it working, that'd be great. But appreciate the support. And the question, could the pirates in this episode be a continuation of the Pikes storyline from the Book of Boba? What do you guys think?
No.
Yeah, I don't see what the connection would be. So let me know what you think the connection would be for that. I personally think it's likely connected to early stuff that we heard from Skeleton Crew. That's where if I had to bet, I've convinced myself 90% that Jude Law's the teacher, one of the teachers in that classroom, and that was Bestman's idea. But I was like, that pirate looks so good. Unless he's a huge player throughout the season, it looks so good. I think he's from the other show. So I think that's our tease, and we just don't know it yet.
Excellent.
Wait, well, Jason, you said, wait, so is he literally a teacher?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant that was just his name. He's, some people just
No, he's a teacher, and those are his students, his pupils.
Oh, so he's a
And-
literal teacher.
Yeah, he's teaching them how to add and stuff.
Oh, wow,
whatever.
okay.
Yeah, how to read, whatever they don't know. And yeah, he's their teacher, and they end up like in deep space somehow together. And I have like stuff from like the first episode that's like these pirates attack, and when the pirates attack, they hyperspace out, and then now they're lost in space together. And so if that's accurate, and then I see this first episode of Mando where we have pirates attacking Navarro with the classroom with a really cool pirate king and all of this stuff, and the pirates want to go in the classroom, which doesn't make sense. Why do the pirates the pirates want to go to the bar? It used to be a bar, now it's a class. But you're telling me there's no other bar on Navarro? There's no pub? Nobody has. It's a dry city. It's Salt Lake City.
They were
space.
just trying to push their agenda.
Right, but
Right.
what I'm saying
We're
is
the boss here, not
from
you.
a writing perspective, that feels forced, and I think they're forcing the connection to the other show. I don't mean that in a bad thing, but
I
it's
see.
just,
I see what
it
you're
doesn't-
saying.
Yeah, it doesn't need to happen, and it does. Like it could be anything, and they make it these pirates who want to go into a classroom.
Yeah,
And-
it can't be all just. I get you. I get exactly what you're saying. Like it's a
Yeah.
classroom. It's pirates and the skeleton crew. We have a teacher and pirates. Like, that's
There's a lot of if in a court of law, it's not beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's not we can't convict. But if it was your girlfriend and you thought she's cheating on you, you're breaking up with her. You're like, you're cheating. I know it. There's too many things here. Goodbye. I'm out.
Yeah. That's why every time you say that, I think of the Magic School Bus, Miss Frizzle and the kids. They're going out on adventures. They're learning things, and be it history or science or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I see
and-
that every time you mention it.
Yeah, there's like stuff with the kids in that show, and then there's like stuff with just Jude Law. Like they filmed a lot of stuff with just Jude Law. So I'm not sure like if the kids are separated for a time. it's a big
Right.
mush, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
but it does seem to connect, and that pirate would look really good in an Amblin Steven Spielberg inspired show with space kids. So
And
I think
I've got obsession, but he stepped away. I see his
Ooh,
hand.
let's hit the buttons on his controller.
There he is.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey, dude.
How you doing?
I was in there. Sorry about that. What's up?
Yeah, that's it. Hey,
How are
we're
you,
good. We're good. Thank you for joining and your support. You've been fantastic for the channel. What's on your mind today?
Oh, well, I'm cutting a piece now. And I saw you were doing stuff, so I was like, oh, let me go hang out with the cool kids for a bit. But I got a take that this young fellow,
Yeah.
is possibly related to Paz Vizsla. Possibly his son is what I'm kind of gathering just by body language and things like that. So,
I put that in my video today.
see, I started editing last night and got sleepy and fell asleep in the chair. But see, that's exactly what I'm saying. Just the body language, the fact that Paz is watching as everybody else is standing at attention, looking, ceremonial. It just breeds those parent father vibes. So, I caught a bunch of crap on my video about the foundlings. Somebody said that I was wrong and it was just a short Mandalorian, and they were very offended because they were a short person. And I was like, well, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wasn't. So
Grogu's a short Mandalorian, so it's okay. There's still some short representation there.
isn't he tall for isn't he like in the 96th percentile of his
He has
growth?
he has gigantism for a Yoda.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. So
I was thinking about what you're talking about that kid, and my take is this: they do whenever that kid gets in trouble, they cut to Paz. They're like that. Paz is watching over that kid for sure. But when we go back to Book of Boba Fett and they're sword fighting and stuff, they're like, well, there's just two of us. So I'm thinking the kid is a foundling, but not a biological child.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Mandalorians, when they take their foundlings, they are as fathers, right? I mean, that's
Is that right? Okay, yeah, I don't know. That
what
stuff
the
kind
armor
of
basically
kind of go
alludes
like,
to.
you know,
Unless
but-
he's
okay.
like pure Mandalorian, like from the old school, you know. I mean, that could be a thing with this group also. It's like he could be, you know, the Vizsla, the next Vizsla, right? That we're going to see in future projects. So it just seems like the coloring of the helmet is very similar. You know,
Yeah.
the protective instinct, the constant eye. It just seems like that's definitely, and it seems like the Vizslas, although foundlings are, you know, part of the creed, it seems like the Vizslas are so pure bloodish, right? If you will, they're very purist of that Mandalorian blood. So it seems
Total
like,
Malfoys, complete Malfoys.
yeah, I was gonna go there. I mean, it's very,
Yeah.
you know, it's very you're beneath us if you're not a pure blood. So I kind of got that vibe from it also, that maybe it's not just a foundling. Like we're so used to seeing foundlings, but it seems like this is something maybe different. So that's the first thing that caught my eye in the episode, is like, well, this, we're seeing this kid's face. That's something unique, number one. And getting to see the ceremony was rad, right? Just getting to see hearing the creed, like hearing them swear the oath, was just very, very bone chilling, actually.
Did you think that was Din when it started? Did you think you were in a flashback and that was Din back in the day? That's what I
No,
thought when I saw it.
Not
at
really,
first.
just because of the helmet, like the coloring, right? As
Mhm.
soon as I saw the coloring, I was like, well, that's not Din's. Didn't have any paint on even any of his armor, really,
Yeah.
unless it was secondhand.
I didn't pick up on that. I that's a really good point where you mentioned that the paint, the deco adheres. That didn't even occur to me.
Yeah, like Paz has like simple colors of light blue, right? In where the cheek area, right?
Yeah.
And so did the little foundling helmet. So I enjoyed watching her make the gear, like watching her make a helmet as one piece of sheet was really cool. It's not a stamped material like the chest plates or the pauldrons or anything like that. It's a piece that's made from scratch. That was, as an engineer, I was like, can we just see the whole, can you just like stem to stern this for me? Like in the outtakes, like just something.
I told my kids she was making pizza. They were like, "You idiot." It does look like she's making a pizza at first, though.
Yeah.
Big circle.
It's like, oh, she's making a pizza sheet. Okay, we're gonna make some Mandalorian pizza. Sweet.
Mando pizza. Come on.
It was not. It was really cool.
I was
to watch.
rewatching it, and the way she heats that disc, there's a one like hot spot on it that kind of looks like the same shape as the Death Star. Do you think that was intentional, like a little haha, look at this? I mean, not obviously trying to say we have a little Death Star
If they
here,
did that,
but
it wasn't as obvious as the Purgle.
yeah. No,
Right.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think they were trying to give that vibe, but I just like because it was a disc and then it had the. Like,
I think you've
offset
lost
center.
it. I think you're seeing
Okay.
Death Stars now.
It's just me. Well, it's like me hearing every time I see Grogu, I hear him say hello, and Meg. And we had a little clip we were sharing in Discord this morning that our friend Baymax took, and I could swear I heard him say hello in that too. Have you seen that obsession? Have you seen Grogu say hello?
No, I thought the yup that they put, I think they rope-a-doped us with the yup in the trailers, because that is not the word, the illustration that I got out of his vocals during that scene.
Yeah.
I mean, much later, and it's an identical look. You know, I mean, he does look like that a lot, where he's like, huh? So, you know, maybe we get to see that first word in a different scene, which would be awesome. But yeah, I haven't heard him say anything of value yet this season. I'm hoping that when he throws the monster in the Mandalorian mines, that he's like, "You better back up, chump!" Like I hope it's something like catchy and fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't really expect him to start speaking very, very soon. I think that's part of the mystery of that character right now, is that he doesn't really have an opinion. He's just going. He goes where Dad goes, right? Like he goes where the shiny guy goes, I go, right?
You know what occurred to me this episode when we saw the kid getting the helmets on? I was like, we probably won't get Grogu with the helmet until he's like around 12 years old in terms of where he's supposed to be.
Right.
But once Disney does that, it's rad to see the helmet, but the cool metal helmet isn't going to sell the character. It's that cute face that sells
and I don't
Grogu.
think,
And so they don't want to, they're not going to want to do it. So I'm like, I wonder how they're going to handle that somewhere down the road. Cause it's such a,
I think you
problem.
got to wait for him to be able to speak, right? Like
Mhm.
in his own way, he's got to be able to say the creed before he can don a helmet. And, you know, a lot of people were speculating that the helmet in the trailer was Grogu's. We find out it's not, you know, after watching her build this helmet. So it seems like that's quite a ways away. I mean, obviously, you know, his abilities have grown in the 0.0 to 2 year span he was with Luke, based on whatever interview you're watching from Favreau right now. Because he decided he's just going to play fast and loose with time.
Yes.
But you know, the fact is that, you know, Grogu, you watch just him mulling around, right? Just sitting in the chair, you know, he's using force push just to entertain himself, right? Boom, he's spinning around, right? Using force pull to grab him an M&M. You know, great product placement by M&M. So yeah, I mean, he's grown, he's using his abilities, but he's still a baby, right?
Yeah.
He's still a child that can't quite speak. And if he can speak and he's sandbagging us and he's been able to speak this whole time, that's going to be great.
Well, Meg and I have talked about this several times. I've mentioned it to others as well. I think it's a coping mechanism of the species as a whole, because they're so small that they can come off in a different way. We see that with Yoda in Empire Strikes Back, where he's pretending to be very juvenile.
Senile.
Well, or senile. Either
Senile.
way,
Senile.
right? Like mine. And he's whacking R2. Of course, he knows R2 at that point. And he's being a bit silly. And of course, that was done for comedic effect and all that, George wanting it to be lighter. But it also had this disguise side to it, right? So Luke didn't know he was the Grand Jedi Master, Yoda. He was thinking that this is some fool that I've run into, right? Some crazy old loon. And I think that Grogu and his PTSD is using the same sort of defense mechanism that the species has to say, I am not as developed as you think that I am. And you got to remember, he's 50 years old. He spent decades in the Jedi Temple training. I think his vocabulary is far greater than what we've seen. I think his development is far beyond what we've seen. As Meg mentioned in her video today, even in Yoda years or whatever, he's like 5. Well, 5-year-olds, I don't know how many of you have raised kids, but 5-year-olds have plenty of vocabulary beyond mine and no.
Well,
right?
and I mean, you can see how childish he is just in everything he does, right? It's not just his vocabulary or whatever. It's you can see him, especially in this episode. I thought they did a fantastic job, regardless of the duration of time he spent with Luke. He's still a child, right? You see how easily he entertains himself. He's pushing himself around in a chair, and you just hear him, wee,
Yeah.
wee, right? He's having a great time. He sees some candy. He's like, "Oh, Dad, stop me! Damn! Oh, there's some candy. Come here, candy!" Right? Like, he's constantly entertaining himself. When he grabs our droid repair friends and hugs them, at first I was like, "Oh, is he trying to choke him like he did Cara Dune when he was arm wrestling Din? Like, they're messing with my droid friend." So at first I was like, "Oh, is he trying to I can physically manhandle somebody. I'm gonna choke this little dude," right? Like, at first I was like, "Forget the Force. I'm gonna grab him." And at first I thought it was violent, but then like he's going to do it again, and you see it's a playful thing. It's adult to him. He's like, "Oh, something smaller than me? Come here, you little cute bastard. Get over here." Right?
Well, I love that Din says, "We can't take him home." Right? Like,
right. And then
like, Dad, can I have one?
Child.
No,
But
no.
he's still a child, right? Like all the time in the darkness, all the time alone, regardless whether he was, you know, somewhat hibernating in that time that he was in the darkness, whatever it was, that stunt his growth, right? So his growth, his mental growth and emotional growth is stunted. right? It's lacking. And so he is acting like a child, much like Omega. I feel the parallels between Grogu and our Omega when they first get out into the world are fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Because he is enamored with everything. Frogs jumping in my mouth, spider, come here, in my mouth, right? Like everything like a baby has to go in their mouth, right? Whereas Omega is like, oh my God, what is this stuff? Is this what? It's dirt. She ain't no dirt. She lived in a clean facility, right? So like these parallels are fantastic, but I think it's kind of messed up that it's okay for Grogu to act like an infant and be an infant and have his growth, mental growth stunted a little bit. But then Omega, it's like, oh, she's an idiot. What do you mean you don't know what dirt is? Stupid little kid, right? Like the parallels are right there, and people just don't give, right? So that
Right.
vibe.
Right. And before we let you go, Bad Batch. How are you enjoying the season of Bad Batch? Are you watching it?
Yeah.
Where
I
are
mean,
you
I
on?
watched it first. Actually, I gave them the first hit because I knew that the Mandalorian was going to light my house on fire, so I didn't want to really start screaming when everybody first woke up.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's really good in that they're giving us a lot of finish lines to stories that weren't finished in Clone Wars, which I always think is great. The Zillo Beast, the storyline they're using for that, and the fact that the Bad Batch has all this dirt. I mean, at this point, it's great because now it's really going to start getting, spicy because now the Empire in its entirety is searching for Omega. Right? It's not just, oh, these rogue clones and these guys got to go get their friends. No, it's now the full might of the Empire is going to be looking for this one Mandalorian or this one Kaminoan clone to them, right?
Yeah.
This one clone, this one
Oh yeah.
female
Yeah.
clone.
Yeah. For sure.
And so at this point, now it becomes a race, right?
Yeah.
Can you make enough money and find a place to hide, or are they going to get her? And then we see Grogu and Omega meet on Mount Tantus, right? Or in Mount Tantus rather. So
Right.
are we going to get to see those two interact for the first time because the Empire has Grogu, or is the Bad Batch going to be the group that takes Grogu and puts him with a group of bounty hunters and mercenaries to protect him? Right? It's a toss up at this point. It's a race to see which path they go down for me. But it's awesome right now. I'm really enjoying the meme where people are like, oh, Mandalorian season 3, blah, and then they're watching the Rebels and they're off the couch pointing, right? Because
Right.
both shows had huge little pearls that were amazing. The Zillo Beast, great callback, fun story. And then Mando season 3, for me, the Purgle was the biggest drop there, bar none. Like the fact that they did live action Purgle excited me just for the callback to Rebels. Like the fact that that's the only thing that would have been better in that scene with Grogu is if Grogu saw them carrying a ship, right? Like toting a Star Destroyer in the back, like the last Purgle is toting what's shaped like a Star Destroyer. That would have been the only cherry on top to that Sunday for me, because then it would have been like, oh, you just saw Ezra. Bye, Ezra. Like Grogu's waving at Ezra as he's off into where the Purgle take them. So that would have been the only cherry on top for me. But the fact that they exist in live action just makes it more exciting for Ahsoka, for the search for Ezra.
That cherry on top is a nightmare, though, if you think about it, because it would mean he was stuck in there for like
a long
5 or 6 years or something like that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're along for the ride. We don't know how long the Purgle stay in hyperspace once they're gassed up, right?
But remember that Ezra and Thrawn have not been in that ship for a long time. They've gone their separate ways. Wherever they ended up, they've gone off and done their own thing. So even if they were carrying that ship, it'd be empty.
That's fine. Even if it was empty, right? Yeah. Even if it was empty, if they were carrying the ship, it would have just been a nice exclamation point to that scene. Like, oh, those are the Purgle that took Ezra. I wonder where they dropped him off.
And also, it didn't just take that ship. It took many of the ships in that thing. Yeah, it took the whole little.
Well, it destroyed most of them, but it took all the big ships with them.
A bunch make it into the other show. So
yeah. Hey, Obsession, thank you again. I know you're working on some more videos. You're working on getting your subscriber count up. You've got some giveaways. You've got all kinds of fun stuff going over. And what an awesome time to be a Star Wars fan, my friend.
Oh,
You
I
and
couldn't agree more.
I tell you, I love it. So thank you so much.
Well, thank
And
you for letting me come on and play with the fun kids.
absolutely.
I was
Good to
watching
see you,
it, and I was
dude.
like, oh, I'm going to see the fun kids. That's it. I got to get dressed. I got to put my hat on. Let's go. So
Okay.
thanks for letting me come play. I enjoy watching all of you, and have a great day, guys.
Later,
Thank
dude.
you. We'll
Thank
see
you,
you later.
Obsession.
Oh my! We talking of the cool kids, the fun kids. We've got one of the coolest, funnest, bestest guys around. The one, the only,
Hey,
the
Mike.
man, the myth,
Mike
the
Porter.
legend, Mike Porter. Hello, Mike Porter.
Wait. Cool kids? Probably
Mike-
the square. Oh my goodness, things are falling apart. Anyway, probably one of the squarest, silliest guy that you'll ever meet. Look, here I am. I'm like a game host. Mike. I put Michael Porter there. Bartholomew. I put Michael Porter because I guess because of I do everything on the phone and it's just so easy.
Yeah, well,
But-
I thought you were just going to put the letter R.
Yeah, like I did. Yeah, I was like, what? That's a boomer thing to do. That's me.
There's a story behind that.
Sure, the Michael Porter populated, and I hit, and I think R hit there in my whatever the thing.
The predictions. Yeah.
The
So
predictions,
Mike didn't have his predictions in. I was like, what happened? And he sent me a message. Says, I think I'm the R. Okay.
because I was trying to be fancy. I was like, well, if there's a monster, then the Bad Batch has got to run around, and then so you get the R. You go R. Bad Batch is going to run around. Nah, that's what's wrong with you, kid? I was like, yeah, that's.
I've done that to Meg before too. You just kind of mock her answers. She's like, "Oh." I have so much fun doing the predictions and going through them. Like, you get a point. Nope, you don't get a point. And so it's a lot of fun. Hey, and I know that you're loving the Bad Batch. I know you're loving Mando. Tell us what your thoughts are.
And I'm not a great speculator. I'm a great fan, and that's why I want you guys. And you guys are actually funnier than me, but Jason is hilarious, and then of all the, what is it, the entendres or whatever that Meg does, and your humor as well. But what I loved about, I'll just say this real quick. What I loved about Mando was Bad Baby. What do you call those guys? Insulin? What are they?
Insulins.
Insults? Yeah, those little guys.
Yeah.
They're cute and hairy shrimp. They're just
They are. My wife loved that too. Bad baby.
Bad Baby. Well,
No squeeze. Bad baby.
one thing I want to say, I want to thank all of you guys, and I've been going through some tough times financially, so I'm not able to be a member of everybody right now. But I just want to say that you guys are really hilarious, and I really do appreciate. Of course, you're very knowledgeable. You know what you're doing, it's great to see that, and I can see, following all the nerdoms, how ingrained Star Wars is, and so it's great to be a part of this community. And you guys, of course, are the three leaders. But I do appreciate, Santa. Thank you for reading my ridiculous thoughts every day, because when I started my Twitter or activated it, it was to promote everybody. And for a while, I decided, hey, I'll just cut and paste the dad joke, because those things seem to be in. My wife got onto me, and she says, That's plagiarism. So even though people might come up with some things, I promise for almost a year and a half now, October of I can't do math. Let's see, October of 21 is when I started doing the ridiculous dad jokes. And I never thought they were hilarious, never at all. And especially, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go, oof.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you had everybody over from England, that was awesome because the director and the bass player of Ash did exactly what they should do after hearing a Mike Porter dad joke. Both of them went like this. Sandy, you watch college football,
I do.
and you see. Has anybody ever heard of the surrender cobra? So your team has just made a horrendous play, and all of a sudden, you didn't volunteer doing this. It just happens. You're like, oh, so you're the surrender cobra. You're like, how can this happen? That's exactly what Mike Porter dad jokes should do. You should do. It's the surrender face slap.
One of my other favorite things is the occasional appearance of the unfunny Mike Porter dad joke, or the unfunny Mike Porter joke of the day. I was like,
it was funny because I said I've been doing this for a year and a half, and I just ask anybody to make a statement on Twitter. Come up with something. Now you guys are content creators, so you do it constantly. But as you guys know, and I've tried to do Twitter Spaces, and Jason's come by, but they're not so easy. And so when you guys are doing a show, when your Meg is doing breakdowns, and all these thoughts are coming out of all three of you, it's not so easy. So I stopped doing that a little bit because I was like, I gotta come up with a joke. But then just somehow, because for some reason I want to tell everybody that May is my 60th birthday,
yes,
that I've gotten a spark, and I just continue doing.
it's been growth, and you just hit a big Twitter milestone too. How many tweets?
Yeah, over for me being a small, tiny, minute influencer, I 10K. So
10,000 tweets.
That's yeah.
It's amazing.
And what it is really just trying to distribute your content, everybody's content.
Exactly.
Copy. I'm not always great at it, but I try.
You're the best. Absolutely the best, Mike.
I'll see Meg's, and I'm like, boom! I'll just hit it right away, And
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for stopping in. It's great to get a Mike Porter a live appearance. So good to see you, Mike. And I know you've been going through some heart conditions and rehab there. It's good to see you kicking.
Yeah,
it really
back
is.
And all that stuff. Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
It's good to see you, Mike. Take care.
Good.
Bye, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. All right. And we've got Trev finally made it on. Look who's there. Another a Canadian. So now we've had true international representation. We've had U.S., U.K., and Canada. Canada. I'd say Canada because my daughter, she gives a hard time about calling it Canadians or Floridians, right? She's like, it's not Canada, Dad. They can't be Canadian. They're Canadians. I'm like, you've got a point, I guess.
I mean, I don't know, man. So I just want to say hi, though. I wanted to stop in. I haven't talked to you in a while, Santa, like on a stream or anything. So I just wanted to come in and say hi, and I see that you're doing well. So
thank you. And you've been following both shows?
Of course. Come on.
Of course. Yeah. Come on now.
I mean, if you want to, like, what, like for example, yesterday's episode of Mando, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't. I thought it was like a 7 out of 10 for me. Like it wasn't like top, but it was like it hit all the beats that Mando's done so far. I think to get you back into feeling what Mandalorian is, right? So
Yeah.
I think it did a good job with that, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Now, let me throw another theory by you. And I talked with Meg
I
about
appreciate
this, and
those.
I've been going to, and you're the guy really to talk about this. And Jason really started cluing me in on it a while back. It's Heir to the Empire. They're not going to retell Heir to the Empire, but they keep stealing beats from Heir to the Empire, right? So they stole what, of course, Thrawn comes from Heir to the Empire. That's where he was invented.
Tantus comes from Heir to the Empire.
Yeah, and same with these ship, right?
Yeah.
So
The Chimera.
the Chimera comes from there, and Rook.
Yep.
Rook, who made his debut in Rebels.
In Heir to the Empire, Rook kills Thrawn, I think, right?
Right.
So-
That's what we mean. Like they're
Even
not
though he's
retelling.
dead in the canon now, but yeah.
Yeah, right. They're not retelling Heir to the Empire, but they keep stealing beats from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we saw the Purgle take the Chimera and the Seventh Fleet out, that is now going to be the Lost Fleet.
The Katana fleet. Yeah.
Mirroring, right? It's the beat, not the exact, right?
Yeah, I mean maybe, or but you could always say that what Palpatine did in Rise of Skywalker was also like a lost fleet too, right?
Kind of. It was a created fleet,
Yeah, but
right?
yeah,
So follow me here.
and I hear
Because
you saying that it could be like if he had a fleet, like it only took the Chimera though, right? So he could have stumbled across a fleet if you're going to say that.
Well, the Purgle took more than just the Chimera.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah. Well, in Ahsoka, it took more.
I haven't watched
So-
the end of Rebels in a while, but like, does it take like? Cause how many ships does Thrawn have at Lothal there? It's Lothal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
No, when they're attacking at the end, is that Lothal? I don't think so. I thought it was somewhere else.
it might not be Lothal. I
Anyway.
don't remember specifically, but yeah, I don't know. Like, because they were on Thrawn's ship, like they were on the Chimera. So do you see the other ships get taken by the Purgle as well, or just the Chimera?
Meg, do you remember? This is your Rebels is your jam. Do you remember how many ships the Purgle took? Did they just take the Chimera?
She muted. She might have herself muted.
Yeah, she's muted.
Meg's gone.
There you go. Well,
I got up. She said she had enough of us.
I mean, I want Star Wars. Like that's like Heir to the Empire is what carried on. Like what Zahn did, what carried on Star Wars for however many people. Like during the '90s, got people interested back into Star Wars for It was Lothal. See,
It was Lothal. Yeah, I shouldn't have questioned you. You're always right. But I think they took more. And the other part about the Lost Fleet, right, is that Thrawn gets the Lost Fleet, and he brings the threat is he's going to bring the Lost Fleet back, and he's going to.
and he mans it with clones, right? That's
yes.
What Sabaoth controls. He controls the clones, and that's why when Thrawn has cloaking technology, that's why he has Sabaoth to sync them all together, because he can't communicate with the cloaking technology.
Right. Exactly. So we've got a Thrawn now in Ahsoka and the Skeleton Crew with a Lost Fleet, and
it could be that Katana fleet, sure.
or it's the beat, right? I keep saying it's the beat. It may not be the Katana fleet. Just like we had Rook, right? Rook kills Thrawn in Heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
Right? But
but also Morgan Elsbeth was saying, like in the in Morgan Elsbeth in the in that episode with Ahsoka in Mandalorian season 2, isn't she in control of some kind of shipyard or something? I'm vaguely recalling that. She's in control of some, like, not just that city, but she's also like in control of some shipyard that's building ships for Thrawn. I think that was mentioned off the top of my head, but that's
Well, I remember that some of the droids had like the 7th Fleet logo on.
yeah.
Right. So
Oh, right.
Yeah,
it's
it did,
just,
but as well. But I think she was also in control of. She was a part of building ships for Thrawn. I think that was a story element that was mentioned in that episode.
gotcha. So
Again, go ahead.
I keep seeing beats from Heir to the Empire brought into canon, not a retelling. Again, and Jason really clued me on. And look at you, of course. Jason really clued me into it. Like, they're not going to steal, or they're not going to retell Heir.
No, well, not completely, but obviously they're taking elements from it because that's what it's everything's going to be an adaptation of those things, right? Like it's because that was the most that and Dark Empire were like those were humongous things in the 90s, right? And those kids that are the 90s, like me, who like I was like 12 or 13 years old when those things came out. Like, you know what I mean? I'm the one with the buying power now, right? So so they're gonna appeal to those to the how many, like, I don't know how many copies of those books sold in the 90s, but like, I mean, they're gonna take things that appeal to that market demographic, right? So
the other question is, there's been a rumor out there. There's been a rumor that there's going to be a new series with Han, Luke, and Leia, and I don't think that there's much veracity to the rumor, but if you're going to take Heir to the Empire, there is a big story with Leia and with Han, right? But do you think that, just again, pure speculation, might we? Here's what I'm thinking. Lucasfilm has the de-aged Harrison Ford from Indiana Jones, right?
Yep.
They've got some assets with that. Might they bring in some of the Heir to the Empire beats with Han and Leia specifically?
Wow, this halcyon sure is worth $6,000 for our honeymoon. That's what it'll be.
I mean, like, so you think they'll do like the Han and Leia marriage, and like not the birth of the twins, I guess it'd be the birth of Ben Solo.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding that they would do it as a commercial for their hotel. But
I mean, if they're gonna do, were they gonna do that like live action, or were they gonna do that animated?
Right. Well,
Like
the series is rumored. They didn't give us any specifics.
I'm not debunking anything, but I asked a friend at Lucasfilm about it, and they said, I don't know anything about that. So
yeah. And I mean, it's because I also as Lucasfilm, like, because they've said they're never, like, I don't know if they've rescinded that, but they said they were never going to do Leia CGI, like they were never going to do the.
Yeah, and that made me laugh the minute they said it, because Leia literally CGI in Episode 9. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
he used existing footage, right, and just kind of.
Well, she's in Rebels.
Her whole body is CGI. Like, it's
you're not wrong.
Yeah,
Rogue One.
Right,
we see her in Rogue One too. It's kind of wonky, but we see her in Rogue One as well, and people keep forgetting about that.
She was alive when that was filmed.
I know, but they did it for
going
CG.
Right, but by the time Kathy said that was already done. Is the point.
Rogue One was already
Rogue One was already. I don't know if it was out yet, but it was already like that was already a thing. So
yeah,
I think she died. I think she died like a couple weeks after Rogue One came out.
That sounds.
The
Sabersmith
Sabersmith just rewatched the scene from Rebels. It says it looks like Ford.
So that's four. That's not. That's not really a fleet. I would.
Well, what is? I got 5. What is that? I don't know. What is that?
Right, 4 plus, including. So 3 plus 1. Right.
I consider the 4 of us a fleet, so I'm just gonna say that.
The Katana fleet was 40 dreadnought class ships, right?
Yeah. So I'm curious. It's just, again, more speculation on my part that they're going to carry some beats of Heir to the Empire, including perhaps like there was a big part in there with oh shoot, the Han's buddy.
Dash Rendar.
Thraken. I think there was Thraken. Like
No,
Thraken's-
The
like
the
his-
other like rogue, the other bit of smuggler guy.
The mullet guy. Mara Jade's boss. Mara
Oh,
Jade's
Talon Card.
Talon Card.
Thank you.
Yeah, Talon Card.
I say it's a
Talon
mullet. I
Card
just say he has
knew
one. I don't
about
know
the-
why.
Right, he knew about the Lost Fleet, and right, and I think we're going to see the teacher accidentally find Lost Fleet. That's what Talon Card found it accidentally.
Yeah,
And we're gonna see
He stumbled
Jude
upon
Law's-
it. He stumbled upon it when he was working for somebody else, and he
Yeah.
recognized what it was, and he kept the location. And they sped out because it happened like probably during the original trilogy. Like it didn't have like
Right.
that probably happened during the original trilogy in the extended universe. The legend.
Right.
Right.
So if Jude Law's character finds it accidentally,
Ah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
not that Jude Law's character will be Talon Card, but
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
it's just a story beat. Right?
They're putting chess pieces into position to kind of play out similar.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. And then there's this big threat, right, that they would need to warn the galaxy about.
Sure.
Jason's been telling us how, at this time, Mon Mothma's demilitarizing the fleet, right? The New Republic.
Yeah.
And we find out that Thrawn has this lost fleet, 4 plus ships. Then that he could come back and cause some havoc with.
For sure. I mean, like Thrawn is going to be. I can't see like Thrawn's going to have to take control of the Imperial remnant, right? Like he's like everything that Gideon is. I don't know. Like Gideon's probably might not be working for Thrawn at this point, but Thrawn will have him working for him, or he'll be dead by the end of whatever. By the end of where we're going, right? So
Yeah.
Thrawn will take control of everything that's Empire when he comes back. I have no doubt about that. That'll be.
Yeah, like
If
by
you're
the
not-
time we get to Hux, we don't see Gideon and we don't see Thrawn. So
Yeah, exactly right. So, but
Yeah.
at the same time, Thrawn will control that, and then he'll probably he'll die later on or something like that, right? But
yeah,
Very good. All right. Well, Trev, anything else before I let you go?
no, man, I just wanted to come in and talk to you for a bit. That's all. I
Thank you.
Appreciate coming to talk to you, Sam. Like I said,
I've
I haven't
been
talked to you.
wanting-
Go
I've
ahead.
been wanting to talk this Heir to the Empire thing with you for the longest time. I'm so glad you dropped in.
Sure, man. All right, though.
All
Have a
right.
great day, eh?
Thank
good
you.
to see you,
Take care.
dude.
Good luck,
I
Canadian.
love it.
Good to
Canadian.
see you, eh?
I love it.
Poser.
Thanks, Trev. Hey, and Meg sent us a picture here.
Is that from
Yes.
Star Trek: The Next Generation? Is that Wesley Crusher? Sorry,
I just found out something
out.
massive. We're not going to
Yeah,
talk
go
about
ahead.
it here, but I just found out
Well-
something massive for the finale.
Oh boy, for the
Go check
finale
the
of
Discord, Jason, if you're interested, of The
Yeah.
Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah. So we saw this officer in Mando season 2 when they were coming onto Moff Gideon's ship and all of that. But then she disappeared. And there's lots of speculation. Did she die? Did she not die? This is the officer that was on the bridge of the ship in Mando 2. Here's a photo evidence that she is in Mando 3.
We already knew
Yeah.
that, though.
Yeah,
She
we
was in
did already
the
know that.
first trailer as well.
It does look like
Kind of
it does look like a Star Trek uniform, though, right? With the way that the top part is
that.
lighter color than the other part.
Can someone
the little
work out
pin.
what's going on in the background? And why has her outfit changed?
Yeah, we got some folks looking through like this isn't going to help. Like Jason was saying, like in Star Trek, looking into the little visor thing, right? No, I don't know what's going on in that background. Good question. Good question. But we just got this picture released, and there's speculation about where that might fit in. What she might be doing. Is she still working for Moff Gideon? Moff Gideon's in jail. How's this going to happen?
She's with Dr. Pershing, and there is a scene which seems to have vanished from the internet, probably because of copyright, but it was in the celebration footage. Dr. Pershing interviews a protocol droid. And that looks really interesting because I think he's on Coruscant we're going to see the Bad Batch season 2, episode 8 again in the context of the Mandalorian. He's looking for the command lock of Gideon's ship to prove to the New Republic War Tribunal that Luke terrorized him unlawfully, if that makes sense. That's why they're in the shipyard.
Gotcha.
So they're not going to break him out of prison. They're going to try and legally do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors going around right now. I'm in 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about what I know from the second episode that I feel like doesn't line up with some of the things that are going around. So if people want spoilers in 30 minutes,
30 minutes, go to makingstarwars.net or the Making Star Wars show and catch Jason Ward. And Bespin, is Bespin going to stream with you, or are you just covering his stuff?
I don't know. He's welcome to. I think he might just be in the chat because we've already kind of like worked out what to say, what we think we know. So.
I shouldn't have said that the way I said it. As soon as I said it, I was like, I shouldn't have said that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meg's listening. Don't say it that way. All right. All right. Well, Jedi Mike's been hanging out in the background. He's still there if we need a go-to, but I think that wraps us up.
We did it.
Yeah, we did. We had a good show. I think we need to do this more regularly, where we come in and invite folks on to just talk Star Wars, ask questions and that kind of thing. Mike Porter, 19 months of membership as well. I've been kicked off my Babel team. He means basketball team. Also, are you streaming tomorrow? Yes, we'll be streaming tomorrow. And
that's what's coming on. He said he might. That means he has to.
Yeah, we'll be streaming tomorrow to talk about the news of the week, and Meg and Jason and I, if Meg's still available, and Jason, you never know what happens between now and then, but I think that's about it. Mike, anything else before we log off?
No, I just was about to chat that I just wanted to hang with you guys in the green room afterwards. Just
okay.
Not right, for team, just to catch up. No, it was great member thing. I love when people come on. You're very smart how you make your Patreon and your YouTube interactive, as does Meg, and I brag about that. And Jason, you know how much I love your work. So let's have a great day and go Star Wars.
All right, hang out. We have a Mike Porter dad joke.
All right.
And it's
not Michael Porter. That guy's serious. Mike Porter. He's a jokester.
That's right. Why is Moff good at teaching riders about Broncos? Because if they fall off, he can say, "Get on back on your horse and ride."
He did it again. He's back.
I love Mike. It was great to have him on the stream as well. It was really good. Very good. Rural Farm Boy, am I backstage? I don't see you, Rural Farm Boy. Am I backstage? No, I just see Jedi Mike, Meg, Jason. That's it. I know he was going to try to jump on before we wrapped up. But I'll tell you what, Rural Farm Boy, catch us next time. We're going to wrap it up here. And the next time we do one of these,
boy.
Watch for it. We'll get you on as well. All right?
Yeah, you'll find yourself floating home. He's a farm boy. You can say that to him.
All right. No, he's about my age, and he lives rural. I live rural. We're like, we're semi-related.
I'm hearing banjos playing as you're talking.
I knew that. I knew that was coming. All right. Well, Meg, thanks for hanging out with me again.
Thank you, Santa.
And we will talk to you guys later. Jason, thanks so much.
Bye, guys.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. And until next time, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful day. Do something to make the world a little bit brighter today. You've made my life better. So thank you so much on that. And until next time, may the force be with you always. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.